You're listening to the State Street Midweek Update. Everyone, welcome to the State Street Midweek Update. I am Nate Loucks. I'm the lead pastor here at State Street and the CEO and president of the PAC Center. And we try to do this weekly, though we're probably good at about maybe 2 to 3 weeks out of the month to give you an update of what's happening here at State Street and the PAC Center and our gardens and green spaces. And we talked a little bit about what's happening in the world as well. We are a church that likes to be active in our faith and engaged in acts of love and justice here in LaPorte and the surrounding areas. And so if you're streaming with us or you're listening to this podcast, we're grateful to have you with us. And it means a lot that you would join us. And we'd love to see you. I've got the comments up. Let us know if you're streaming with us today. We're going to ask you here the question of the week here pretty soon, and we'd love to hear from you once we ask that, what you're thinking on this question, and we just like to know how you're doing. So let us know, shoot us a message, shoot us a comment, and check in with us if you will. I'm going to now invite my friend and co-pastor here at State Street Community Church, Pastor Becky Crain, to join me. How are you, Beck?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really well. I'm going to change our background a little bit. Oh, look at that. It's like yeah. I kind of like that one though the best. It's a little subtle, but it has a little bit of change in it as well. Sure. So how was your week?
Not bad. Not bad. I've been sleeping the greatest, but aside from that,
Did you get any sleep on election night?
I got about 4 hours. And I know nothing's going to happen, but yet you still keep watching, thinking something's going to happen. And, when you should just go to bed. Yeah,
if I'm being truthful, my productivity this week hasn't been the best. I've had far more productive weeks. But I'm not anxious. I'm just, there's just something, you hate to use the word sport of it, but there's just something appealing, or just that, I want to see the maps and the, the situations and the math and the, and like you said, nothing really changes, or it hasn't changed much.
And they always act like something's changing, which is why I really we've started watching PBS News, because there's just a calmness to it. They're very calm. Everything's not like breaking news, because it's just not all breaking news.
Yeah, there are some things I think we all just need to calm down about, right? Like you said, this is not big movement. This is, okay, they counted 5,000 more votes out of 5 million. Let's just simmer down, John Roberts. All right, that's a little much.
It is interesting because I would say, I have absolutely no idea how many votes are out there, but just the sheer magnitude of it, that there are that many votes out there, it's actually pretty cool. It's a lot.
It is. It's really cool, and I'm always of the mindset: the more people that vote, the better. And there are people that don't believe that, but I do. I think, again, if you're in this country and you're a citizen, you should get the opportunity to choose the direction of the country. And it's with 150 to 170 million votes. It feels maybe minuscule to say I am one of only 150, 170, but it is your opportunity to make a difference. And, even more so on local races, as you know, I got to be a poll watcher. I was called on Wednesday morning, and they said, "Hey, can you get down to the courthouse? And we need more poll watchers that can be deputized to do this." And I said, I would absolutely love to, because again, I host a radio show here that deals a lot with politics, and I truly. I try to be as nonpartisan as possible on those things, and I don't really care who wins. I want every vote to count, and so I was honored to be asked to do that. But it was really interesting to see the process play out, right? Because in my head, honestly, I didn't know how our elections worked. I know that you vote
Right.
and somehow the votes end up on the TV screen, later.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see.
Mhm.
LaPorte County had 7,000 votes that came in. Early, the mail-in votes, rather. They call them paper ballots,
Right.
because they're done through paper. But technically, they're not, because I don't know if you know this. I did not, but the military gets to email their ballots. I did not know that, but it makes
I didn't
sense.
know that.
They're
Yeah.
all over the world, right? So it makes sense to be able to
Yeah.
email their ballots. And so, and you email them and you send them to the place that you're essentially registered. And so
Mhm.
if you're a 19-year-old or 20-year-old kid that's stationed somewhere around the world, LaPorte still might be your home. And so
Right.
you're going to vote here. But anyway, really interesting. What's really fascinating about the process, though, and I put pictures on my Twitter. If you go to Twitter on /Nate Loucks, you'll see them. But what was really interesting is at the table, they had maybe 10 tables, maybe 11 tables. And at each table, they have a Republican and a Democrat volunteer that are theoretically, anyway, supposed to be approved by each party. And then the people the Republican and the Democrat at each table get a stack of ballots, paper ballots to go through, and they have to essentially, both of them, go through and verify the signature, verify that each of the all of the paperwork has been recorded. They check see if they're registered to vote, all that kind of thing. And I can tell you this, they check signatures very closely. There were maybe 40 or 50 of them, out of that group that did not, their vote has not counted yet because their signature did not match what was on their approved thing. Here's where this gets a little crazy is, if you ever go to the BMV and you sign your signature now, it's usually on a digital pad, right? And digital pad signatures stink. And so, and so, so people are looking at a digital pad signature, which typically is not really that close to what your authentic signature might be. Right. And you actually signed it in your real signature. And if those don't match, what happens then is the voter has 8 days to come down to the courthouse and actually rectify their signature so that their votes can be verified. But again, all these things I didn't know.
But they actually reach out to the voters so they can do that?
Yeah. So here's the crazy thing. They actually have to call. They're doing that today. They're calling all of the voters now to make sure that they know that, hey, we could not match your signature. So you need to come down here and verify your votes and sign this, verify your signature so that your vote can count. And again, most of the races have been called. It doesn't necessarily, there is a school board race locally that's only, I think, 24, 29, something like that, votes separated. So that could theoretically, there's enough of those votes that could theoretically, I think, not highly likely, could impact that. But again, it's just interesting to see the democratic process work out. I was really impressed by Nelson Pichardo and Ralph House, the Republican and the Democratic election board attorneys that were there. They had a hard couple days, just making sure everything's running right, and they are on top of it. It honestly, it was a tiring day, but it gave me so much hope in our processes, and it really countered some of the things narratives I'd heard either online or in the media about how easy fraud is. It's not to say that it's fraud proof, but the system is robust. I'll say that. And I think it was pretty impressive to see. So,
hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please do.
Is your screen frozen?
No. Is yours?
Yeah. Oh, there it goes.
Could you hear me or no?
Oh, I could hear you the whole time. It was just like we were both frozen the whole time, and I didn't know if both sides were. So it's moving now. It's just weird.
Well, we talked about this before we started the podcast, how we're not real big fans of our internet right now. We pay a lot of money for this internet here at State Street Community Church and Comcast. You stink. I'll say it.
I'll say it. It's just you and me here right now. Come on.
I'll say it for our single digit listeners. All right. You stink, Comcast. That's
We should
going
probably
out
put it
far and wide,
Far and wide.
Comcast. Get ready, buddy. Get ready. The bricks of the Comcast empire are falling.
Oh yeah,
All right.
because of you.
Bringing them down. All right, let's get to our weekly update. Pastor Rebecca Crain. All right, we got birthdays and anniversaries. We ask for your birthdays and anniversaries. We like to wish our volunteers and our parishioners and those in our community that have a happy birthday or an anniversary coming up. We like to wish you a happy birthday and anniversary because it means a big deal to us, even if it doesn't mean a big deal to you. We are grateful for you, and we are glad that you were born. And so we're going to go through our list of happy birthdays and anniversaries. And if it is your happy birthday or anniversary, God bless you, and I hope you have a great day this coming week. Now, these are birthdays from today up to next Wednesday. All right, you ready, Crain?
I'm ready.
All right. Our first happy birthday goes out to our friend Rich Siri. Happy birthday, Rich Siri. Fun fact about Rich Siri, maybe the hardest handshake of anybody I know. He's got like man hands compared to my like well lotioned hands. Happy birthday goes out to Brooke Knipe. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hey, Beck, how do you say her last name?
Knipe.
Yep, Brooke Knipe. Happy birthday, Brooke. Happy birthday goes out to Scott Harville.
Hey, buddy, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Scotty Scott. Happy birthday to the cutest member of our church, Joel Crain. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday. I love you.
I love you too, Joel Crain.
Hey, he watches us sometimes, so he might be watching. But he usually logs in late.
Yeah, he might. Are you going to make him anything special for dinner?
Tonight?
Well, for his birthday. His birthday's not tonight.
Well, actually, he is taking next week off because he has some vacation time, and he's also off for Veterans Day, which he always takes his birthday and Veterans Day off because he gets Veterans Day off because it's a bank holiday. So he has those, but he's got some vacation days he hasn't used, so he's going to take the whole week off. So.
Oh, good.
We'll
Good.
do something. I don't know. We're not big planners.
As we all know around here. Layla Hart, happy birthday, kiddo. We hope you have a great birthday. And we've got 2 anniversaries coming up here in our community. Kyle and Amaris Matheny, happy anniversary, November 7th. We hope you have a great day. We really we're grateful for you. And then Rick and Cheryl Dolson is their anniversary coming up too. Happy anniversary, guys.
Happy anniversary, guys.
We love you guys. All right, so happy anniversaries and birthdays to all of those. If you'd like to have your birthday or anniversary read, let us know. We would love to put that into our database and add that to our list. Again, it means a lot to us. So here's our question of the week that we would love to hear from you. Just put it right down into our comments, and we will maybe read some of them here. But it's always interesting to hear. Our question of the week is, what fictional family would you be a member of? Like, would you choose to be a member of? Would you want to be a member of? And it could be from literature, it can be from television, it could be from film, but it has to be a fictional family, not like a real family. Don't be like, hey, I want to join that family because my family stinks. And I'm like, hey, what book is that from? You're like, no, they're my neighbors. Because then I'll get really sad. Mm-hmm. So choose a fictional family. Again, any from TV, film, or literature. Beck, have you thought of one yet?
I did. I had it narrowed down. I think I've narrowed it down to one that I think. All right. I
really hope we didn't pick the same. I hope we didn't pick the same one.
I know. Actually, the one I'm settling on, I'm 100% positive you wouldn't pick. So that was part of the reason, because I thought there was a chance you might pick the other one. So my backup was the Weasleys from Harry Potter. So I don't know if you picked them or not. They were my backup, just, But the family that I picked is yes. Yeah, Amy, good choice. The family I picked is from Bob's Burgers. They are a cartoon family. See, and I know you don't really like cartoons, so I knew you wouldn't pick them. But the Belcher family, because there's something really cool about their family. I've been watching Bob's Burgers a lot lately as a way to disengage from any stress in the world. Mm-hmm. Because it's really funny. And they're just so funny. Like my kids often say that I remind them of the mom, Linda Belcher, because she's very optimistic. She sings a lot, like making up things to sing, and I know I can't be her if I'm joining their family, but there's their son like writes musicals, and their kids are just hilarious, very flawed, but at the end of the day, they love each other fiercely, and that's always the thing that they come back to at the end. And sometimes a little misguided in their attempts to do what they want to do, but it's always hilarious. So and they run a burger restaurant, so burgers,
Oh, so that's where the name comes from, obviously,
burgers,
right?
yeah. So I'm going to join this cartoon family.
So what's funny about that is I actually did have, as part of my answer, because I had a couple there, I did have the Weasleys, because I do love the Weasleys.
Yeah.
And so I really do love the Weasleys, and I would pick them, but I thought that would be one that would probably be a safe one for most family or most people to pick, so I did not. I did pick a couple just in case you picked one. So I think that the family I probably grew up in that reminds me of the most of my family might be a little bit like Shameless, if you've seen that show. But we're a little rough and tumble sometimes in our childhood trailer park.
That's funny.
But anyway, the family that I love and I would think I would love to be in, there's two of them. The Bluths from Arrested Development. I think I would love to be in the Bluths. The Bluth family, because I am maybe crazy enough to fit in well. And then also the Dunphy family from Modern Family. I think I would do.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. I love Phil Dunphy. He's like my dad hero. And I try to do the same, like humor with my kids, and they think I'm really just dumb. And I love that. Yeah, it does. It's like, yes, you rolled your eyes at that joke, I win. And so, but anyway, yeah, that would be what I have. We've got a couple people that have said in the comments, if you've got an answer to this question of the week, which fictional family would you be a member of, or would you want to be a member of, rather? Here's one from Amy Warner, the Bennett family from Pride and Prejudice. I'm going to admit to Amy Warner right now, never read or seen Pride and Prejudice. I'm really sorry about that.
I love Pride and Prejudice.
Okay, I bet it's good. And if they make a Pride and Prejudice that's made by the writer director or the director of the Little Women thing from last year, I'd probably see it, because that was really good. And then Mike Warner says the bridge crew of the Enterprise. Well, you can't the bridge crew. That's a family. That's a work family, Mike. It's like me wanting to grow up with the Golden Girls as my family. All right, they're not real family. They're friends that made a family. Or like well, some of them are. Two of them are family, but by and large, they built a family amongst their love for each other. So I guess I'll count it. Why not count it? I'll count that, Mike. So if you have an answer to our question of the week, which family would you want to be a member of? Fictional family, rather. Put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Moving on here. Last Sunday, our volunteer appreciation. This is the time to acknowledge one of our volunteers from either the PAC Center or Gardens or Green Spaces, or just the church or wherever, just to kind of say thank you, and we see you and we recognize you and we value you. So I'll let you go first, Pastor Becky. Who do you want to recognize this week?
I want to recognize someone from our worship team, someone who took a break for a while and then came back recently, Erin Conlon. When she had taken a break for a while and we missed her a ton, and having her back has been so great. She adds so much value to our team, and it's just fun to have her back. I appreciate her, and so I'm glad she's back.
That's a great choice. I think it's a really good choice, and I share in your gratitude for Erin. I would like to do. I would like to recognize Elizabeth Brady, who usually just goes above and beyond whenever we need a volunteer for about anything. I think she's served in many different things, for worship ministry, or to our tech team, to children's ministry, to our First Impressions team. I'm gonna, if we have something like our Thanksgiving dinner, she'll be here. She's just a fantastic person, a wonderful volunteer. I value her friendship, and I'm just so grateful for her. So Elizabeth Brady, thank you so much for everything you do here at State Street, and for the church and the PAC Center and all these kind of things. We're just so grateful for you. All right, so Aaron and Elizabeth, thank you so much. All right, last Sunday, we continued our series on Make Peace. Our series title is called Make Peace, and we're talking about how to be peacemakers. I was telling Pastor Becky this week, I really have loved this series. Not necessarily every sermon I've preached. I've just loved the pursuit for figuring out some internal stuff for myself on how to be peacemakers, especially in a season that seems to be somewhat volatile. And I do think it's helped me kind of maybe stay a little bit mentally, spiritually, emotionally healthier in this kind of volatile season. But we've been talking about how to be peacemakers as people of faith, and how to not just keep peace, not just be peace breakers, but how to make peace with the world around us, with God, with our neighbors, with our enemies. And this last week, we talked about Acts 15, which is this really interesting section of the book of Acts, which talks about the early church. And in this chapter, there's this kind of dialogue between these two different movements within the early church, the Gentile Christians and then the Jewish Jerusalem Christians, who were the ones that really kind of walked and talked with Jesus. They were with Jesus for 3 years, the kind of pillars of the church, James and Peter and all these kind of people. And they're coming into a little bit of conflict with Paul, the Apostle Paul, who wants to expand the scope of the good news of Christ beyond their kind of boxes that some people have put their faith into. That God, as Peter had this vision that says God shows no favorites. Paul is trying to live this out. And it's just this really interesting chapter of how, what I love about it is it shows that there's never been a picture perfect time in the life of a faith community. There's always disagreement. There's always disorganization. There's always need for more orientation towards love and justice. But I also love it because at the end, you see these people try to find some commonality and some common ground to live with, to stay unified. So, and one of the things we talked about on Sunday, or one of the things we kind of worked through, is the need to listen well. And that if we're going to be better at living in unity with other people, and that doesn't mean sameness, that doesn't mean you have to be the same opinions. The church often gets this wrong, but you can be unified and you can love your neighbor well, even when you don't agree with them. But in order to do that, I think we have to listen to our neighbors and listen to their stories, listen to where they come from, listen to how they got to where they're at, not out of a sense of trying to correct them or make a judgment because of them, but because you're genuinely interested in their stories and who they are as people. And it's one thing I'm trying to do a little bit better, Pastor Becky, is trying to not talk as much when I'm having conversations with people, because I want to find out more about who they are. What are you thinking about this series so far?
Oh, I think it's great. And I think it's very timely because I liked what you said. One of your points was that change often brings conflict. And sometimes I think we do everything we can to avoid conflict, but sometimes conflict is inevitable and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's a healthy thing. We just have to learn how to communicate. And like you said, the importance of listening. I think so often we spend more time thinking about what we're going to say rather than actually actively listening to what a person is saying. We're just waiting for our turn to say what we want to say, and that's not really a conversation. That's just two people saying their points, so.
Yeah, sparring back and forth with their voices, essentially,
But even conflict is necessary sometimes in order to move forward and to grow together. Sometimes you have to have that conflict. I know it has a negative connotation, but sometimes it's the necessary path forward. So,
and I think we let so many other sources and so many other things define our understanding of things that we don't know. For instance, I hear a lot of because we do a lot of poverty work, we do a lot of food insecurity work here at the PAC Center in our Gardens and Green Space. I hear often a lot of people say different things about poverty or food insecurity that I know just aren't true, or people that are in poverty or something. I just know for sure it's not true because I know it well. I know the people. These are not just ideas or stories. These are people that are friends of ours at our organization, and but oftentimes those ideas are formed not by talking to somebody in poverty, but by having your ideas of poverty being informed by another person. And so one of the really important things is to strip away some of those things that, maybe we've started believing that aren't informed by a first level source, and try to find out from those people and those things about their stories, because sometimes we were told wrong, or we believed wrong, or maybe the people that told us thought they were telling the truth. It's not it's not a condemnation of them. It's just sometimes we're wrong. And so going in with an open heart and an open mind to listen to our neighbors is so vital to building a more loving and just community, I believe.
Okay.
So this coming Sunday is our final Sunday of Make Peace. We're going to be in Paul's letters, talking a little bit more about the Apostle Paul. So we've worked through the whole scriptures on this idea of peacemaking. Blessed are the peacemakers. If you'd like to come, you're welcome to join us here at State Street on Sunday morning at 8:30 or 10:30. We do have children's ministry at 8:30, nursery, toddler, and preschool. Preschool can include first grade, up to first grade, really. And then second service at 10:30, we have it nursery and toddler. So again, if you'd like to come, our sanctuary is socially distanced. We are wearing masks, these kind of things. But we do still enjoy being together. We find it important to still gather as best as we can, as safely as we can in the midst of this pandemic that we take seriously. But we know that there's still so much importance in gathering when we can. And so I invite you. You're also welcome to join us online on our Facebook or our YouTube page. You can stream our services at the same time. We stream them live at 8:30 and 10:30 as well. All right. Things happening, announcements. State Street. Beck, do you want to update people? Well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. State Street, we do have a class again tonight. We are doing a class on mindful silence, kind of going with some of this theme about listening a little bit more. But also at the PAC Center, one of our things that we do here is Thanksgiving Eve, we do a big meal with the PAC Center and State Street, and we feed hundreds of people here at LaPorte. Well, obviously with the pandemic and everything, we're not going to be able to have an in-person gathering, though we still want to help feed those on Thanksgiving Eve. So Pastor Becky, will you kind of explain a little bit about how that will happen on Thanksgiving Eve and what we need from people?
It's going to be a to-go meal, working out of the PAC Center because it gives us a little better space to work out of. We still need things donated in order for this meal to come off. Typically, we have, I think you said like 400 plus people, and it might even be more this year because of what's going on. I would not be surprised if there were more. So we typically plan for about 500. So we need people to cook turkeys. We need people to buy and cook hams, and we need people to make desserts. And then all those things will be dropped off at the PAC Center the day of the event, which is the day before Thanksgiving. You can sign up. Is it in the app?
It's the form is created. It will be in the app here probably within an hour.
Okay. So you can sign up through our app. You can email me. You can, if you're here on Sunday, we have sign up sheets at the welcome desk, and we'd love to have you be involved that way. So lots of food. We need it.
Yeah, and if you're not a part of State Street and you still want to be a part of this, that's fine. Again, we will put it out there how many volunteers we need. We're still figuring some of this out. Again, we have to be safe here, and we don't want to get too many people involved here because again, we've got to just make sure that we're following the right and proper guidelines there. I do want to say too that on Thanksgiving Eve, if you know of somebody, so that's the day before Thanksgiving, if you know of somebody that needs a meal, please do send them our way because we'll be serving out of the PAC Center and it'll be to go. But our goal, and it saddens me because meeting together on Thanksgiving Eve is one of the things we've done for many, many years.
Fun.
It's my favorite. I say this every year and it's true. It's my favorite day of the year. And not being able to break bread with other people really saddens me. And it's one of the things that's really, I think, one of the things that I'm really most upset about in this pandemic season, because again, it's one of my favorite times. It's a time of gratitude. It's a time of Thanksgiving together with other people. But we do still want to feed people and we want to make sure people have a hot meal on Thanksgiving Eve. So send them our way and we will get all that details out on our PAC Center Facebook page and our State Street page as well. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to myself or Pastor Becky or our program manager at the PAC Center, Jason Clemens. Our Brighton Street Green Space, if you've not driven by there on the corner of Brighton Street and Pulaski, you should, because it's just looking amazing. They've got fences up now. We've got the area where the pavilion will eventually go. It just looks wonderful. There's going to be truly, I was telling Neil this the other day, our project manager over there, that there's going to be no place like it that I've seen. And so next year we're going to have more garden space to garden in. We're going to have great programs run through that. We're going to allow, if you have a nonprofit and you need to use that space, we're going to allow you to use that. We will have a small minimal rental fee just for cleanup, essentially just to pay somebody to clean it up afterwards for those that want to rent it and rent the space and stuff like that. So it's going to be beautiful. I'm excited about it. If you've not driven by, it's a special place. And this Brighton Street Green Space, so many different community members have come in and businesses and organizations have volunteered or given such great prices to us. We're talking like $1 million redevelopment project here in an area that hasn't had much redevelopment. And it's just going to be such a great space. And we're planning on having that done hopefully in early summer. But we'll definitely be growing things there in the gardens, and it's going to be, we'll have our garden programs running over there. And also at our Jackson Street Community Garden. We are not shutting Jackson Street down. If anything, we're going to bolster that up as well. We're going to have both programs, both gardens running, and we would love to have you garden with us. It doesn't matter if you're low income, high income. It doesn't matter if you know how to garden or you don't. It's the fun of gardening is learning how to garden. Some people actually garden with us and they actually give away most of their produce in our share table. They just want the hobby. They want the thing to do. Some people do it with their kids. It's just something I think educational as well. So we'll put more out there after pretty soon anyway about how to sign up for next year to be a part of that and how you can help. The preschool going well as well. We loved seeing their little Halloween stuff. I'm sure they'll have a Thanksgiving dinner as well, which is always a lot of fun. But all in all, everything's going well there as well. So, Pastor Becky, I will let you go. This is our show and tell time. If you are listening and you want to share an article or something you listened to that you would like to, essentially share with the group, you're welcome to do that as well. This is our time to share something we've learned or something we've read or something we've watched. It could be a show with the group. So Pastor Becky, I'll let you go first.
Okay, mine is something I watched Saturday, a movie, and it just is a really good feel-good movie, which I think is really good for this season of life. Peanut Butter Falcon. Have you watched it?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's
so good. I hadn't seen it. I had heard all kinds of good things about it, and it was just such a beautiful story and heartwarming, and it made me feel happy and warm. So I watched it on Amazon Prime, and it's free on Amazon Prime right now.
I'm gonna put I'm going to put this in the comments for everyone watching. Peanut Butter Falcon, and it has Shia LaBeouf. That's how you say his name in the native language.
Very good.
Shia LaBeouf. But he's really good in it, and
yes.
And I honestly went into it not expecting to like it as much, which is always a pleasant kind of thing with a movie when you see it. So, no, I would definitely. And then there was one that I think I remember seeing at the same time that I saw Honey Boy, which is another film that Shia LaBeouf did. That's kind of a autobiographical. And I think, it's really good too. And so he was hitting 1,000 there for a little while. He's done a really good job because I'm not real sure about Shia LaBeouf. He does these like weird performance pieces, like where he does really odd things in public, and he's like, "Oh, that's just performance art." And I'm like, I don't know if it's performance art or if that's just a very convenient way to get me to not think that you might be crazy. I don't know. But I really like Shia LaBeouf's lately, his movies. So finally, for me, I want to share a podcast because we are in the thick of political season. I'm going to share a podcast from NPR that somebody shared with me on the Electoral College and how, I put it in the comments there. It's essentially why we chose the Electoral College, about, the debate around the Electoral College when it was started, the debate about why we still have an Electoral College and stuff like that. And I just found it very fascinating, very informative. It was shared with me, or I actually saw somebody share it in the comments, and I ended up listening to it. It's about an hour long, well worth it. And I think you'll learn a lot if you listen or watch that NPR podcast. And then finally, I want to share one more thing, if I can, before we go. I wanted to share this clip. One of the candidates for president is going to lose. It could be Donald Trump. It could be Joe Biden. We don't know right now. If it's Joe Biden, again, that'll be. It's going to be really hard regardless because 50% of the country voted for each one of those essentially, right? We're really close. There's not going to be a mandate. There's not going to be anything like that. If it's Joe Biden, I hope he's kind in his loss, and it's going to be tough for many people that supported Joe Biden. If it's Donald Trump, I hope he's kind when he loses, because again, a lot of people supported Donald Trump as well. And we get very passionate about our political opinions. Sometimes I think a little bit too passionate. But politics does matter, and it does impact our life. And so I understand the passion behind it. But I wanted to, on our way out here, show you a clip, if I can, of Jimmy Carter, who is a great man who lost re-election. And he lost it pretty handily to a guy named Ronald Reagan. And when Jimmy Carter lost, he had to give a concession or a speech essentially saying, I'm conceding the race to Ronald Reagan. And anytime a president doesn't win re-election, it's very rare. It doesn't happen that often. And as he says in this short clip, it's really hard. Because, any act of politics, any act of running for office is an act of vulnerability and hope. And when people reject you there, I'm sure it's very hard to deal with. But I'll play that for you. I thought it'd be worth sharing, and maybe you'll find something of value in it as well. So I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you so much for listening to the Midweek Update. Contact us and let us know if you need anything. We'll be back here next Thursday as well to give you an update on what's happening here at State Street, the PAC Center, the Gardens and Green Spaces, and how you can be more involved. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
I promised you 4 years ago that I would never lie to you, so I can't stand here tonight and say it doesn't hurt. The people of the United States have made their choice, and of course I accept that decision. But I have to admit, not with the same enthusiasm that I accepted the decision 4 years ago. I might say I have a deep appreciation of the system, however, that lets people make the free choice about who will lead them for the next 4 years. About an hour ago, I called Governor Reagan in California, and I told him that I congratulated him for a fine victory. I look forward to working closely with him during the next few weeks. We'll have a very fine transition period. I told him I wanted the best one in history, and I then sent him this telegram, and I'll read it to you. It's now apparent that the American people have chosen you as the next president. I congratulate you and pledge to you our fullest support and cooperation in bringing about an orderly transition of government in the weeks ahead. My best wishes are with you and your family as you undertake the responsibilities that lie before you, and I signed it, Jimmy Carter.